In this video, I want to solve equations that look like quadratics. So our first example here, we have x minus 13 square root of x plus 40 is equal to 0. Well, I have an x. It's not raised to the second power, but then I have something else with an x here. It sort of looks like a quadratic, right? If this was just an x squared and this was just an x, it would be a quadratic. So if we look at it in a slightly different way, if we look at it like this, maybe this will help. Okay. So there's a relationship here, right? I have an x squared and an x. If I was to square both of those things, I would have x squared minus 13x x plus 40. And that's a quadratic that I can solve. So maybe we can use something called u substitution. We can substitute in a value for our x, or for something, I should say. And that might make this thing into a quadratic. If I put in the b value here of x squared, if I make my u x squared, okay, well, that makes this thing, if we were to think about it, if we tried to make everything look like a quadratic, if I have x to the 1/2 squared minus 13 x to the 1/2 plus 40 is equal to 0. Now I'm really close. I see that this thing is squared, and the same value here is not to any power, it's to the first power. So if I sub in another variable, u is the common one that's used, I can make this equation look like u squared minus 13u plus 40 is equal to 0. Now remember, u is just equivalent to x to the 1/2 power. We're just making this simple for our eyes, or simple to grasp, okay? We're making it less complicated here. All right? So now we can factor this, right? I hope I can factor this. Okay, 40, so that's probably, is that 8 and 5 negatives? Yes, it is. Okay. So, and then we can, these are supposed to be u's. Okay, so now we know that u is equal to 5 and u is equal to 8. Okay, so we know what u is. We're really trying to solve for x here, right? We're trying to solve for x. What x values are going to make this y value 0? So we can just sub back in using our u. Our u we know, I'll put it over here. Our u we know is x to the 1/2 power. Let's sub it back in. So we can have x to the 1/2 power is equal to 5, and x to the 1/2 power is equal to 8. Okay, all we did was we subbed out our u for what it's equivalent to, x to the 1/2. This will lead us to solving for x. In the top case, we know that x is equal to 25. And in the bottom case, we know that x is equal to, this is the square root of 8. So we'll just have to put the square root of 8 here. And we can simplify that, but I'm not going to bother. Okay, and those are our two answers. Okay, let's do another example. Okay, we have x minus 8 over x squared plus 5 times 8 minus x over x minus 14. Okay, and this is even a simpler example, because here we have something, okay, and here it's being raised to the second power, here it's being raised to the first power. That looks very quadratic to me immediately. So I'm going to use my u substitution, and I'm going to make u be just x minus 8 over x, right? That'll allow me to sub out this big crazy looking thing for just a u. So now I have u squared plus 5u minus 14 is equal to 0. I can hopefully factor this. Let's do it. Okay, so we got the u. This is going to be a plus minus, right? And we have plus 7 and minus 2 here. Okay, so our u's are 2 and... you know what? I'll separate this out. And the other u is negative 7. Okay, great. We're not trying to solve for u, though. We're trying to solve for x. So I'm going to sub back in my crazy thing. So here I have x minus 8 over x is equal to 2. And x minus 8 over x is equal to negative 7. Okay, let's solve. Okay, so what I can do here is I have an x in the bottom. So if I just multiply everything by x, that'll get that x out of the bottom. And I'll get x squared minus 8 is equal to 2x. You know, and this turns into a quadratic that I can solve here. Minus 2x minus 8. I'm running out of room. I can factor this into... this is 4 and 2. Sorry about the lack of room. I wrote too big. This is minus 4 plus 2. So our x values here are 4 and negative 2. All right. So I have those two answers. I know I'm going to need more room for the next one. Actually, you know, maybe we can skip some steps and not. If I do the same exact steps that I did over here with this, I'm going to get x squared plus 7x minus 8 is equal to 0. I can solve. This is going to be what? An 8 and a 1, x and an x. And which one's going to be negative? This one's going to be negative. So here I have two other x values. 1 and negative 8. So I have three answers here. The answers are 4 and negative 2 and 1 and negative 8.